So that's the underlying principle of what we're doing.
Great, thank you, Martin. I'll just hit the go live button. Sorry, I forgot to do it, but we are now live on LinkedIn, also going out to YouTube. Yep. Jason, if you can just give us a quick 1 minute of what you're about, what you're up to, and let everyone know.
Yeah, hi. Okay, deep end. So I'm in business development for a company in the construction space. So my business they deliver basements under new build, primarily high-end residential buildings. So it's quite an interesting challenge in the fact that my main point of contact would be architects, because they're the guys who are named on planning applications, but then they're not the end customer, they're not paying for it. And secondly is really long sales lead time. So this is not it's not something you just decide, wake up in the morning, oh, actually I could do with one of them and buy it, or oh, that's an idea, I never thought of that before. So if you're going to build your own house, it can often be several years in the planning and the process. So that's kind of my challenge, is about just developing contacts, growing a network, and filling the pipeline.
Brilliant, excellent. Thank you, Jason. And Christoph, how about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Christoph, architect and prop tech entrepreneur. And we're focused on digitizing commercial real estate assets so that we can speed up the lettings process, but also decarbonize in that space.
Thank you. Welcome. And Andre?
Hi, Andre, Pool Software Limited, just bespoke software development and support for businesses, established businesses, anything you want to automate through software. We're the people to talk to.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, so good to have you all with us, and if there's one or two, they might drop in later, so we'll introduce them later on. But let's kick off. Let's start off with today's subject matter. Hopefully this is going to be quite relevant to a lot of you. At some stage in your business, you've all got interaction with clients, and it's a really good idea to think about scheduling and how you manage this whole process to kind of free you up, make sure you're as efficient as you can be with your time. So today's focus is looking at scheduling and workflows. Setting appointments like a pro is the title there that we've gone for this week. As with all these masterclasses, this is actually part of a 13-week series. We're actually in week 6. So we've kind of gone through a lot of the Leadeth side and that roadmap, which I'll share in a moment. But yeah, this is the agenda. We'll do about 25 minutes of me just kind of introducing Calendly, having a look at why it's so important, how the Leadeth solution integrates with Calendly, also some open Q&A at the end, and then we'll close off. So hopefully a 45-minute session, and we should be there. So I'll kick off, but firstly, has anyone who's kind of currently integrated Calendly using it? Just a quick show of hands would be great. Great. Christoph, Jason, Martin, yeah. So all probably seasoned pros here. So yeah. So so let's just dive into the content. So there'll probably be quite a few people online watching the stream and tuning into this as well. So who's Alex Smith? That's me. I'm the founder of Leadeth. Leadeth is a how do I describe it? It's so difficult to describe because it's shifted over the years. It used to be just a software tool that automated the process of connecting you with people on LinkedIn, to now a kind of a fully fledged community of kind of lead generators, basically people who are interested in building their businesses and looking to automate things. So I'm quite keen on marketing automation, and yeah, so I've kind of scaled this business up from scratch. And my backstory is kind of I was a membership advisor for a national organization in the UK, the Federation of Small Businesses. And I basically had to go out and find new members because COVID hit. I was unable to go door knocking, unable to do cold calling. So I was thinking, wow, how am I going to get my commissions? Bringing in 10 new members every month, that was the target. Otherwise, you didn't get any commission. So it was quite stressful. But through the power of LinkedIn, I was able to kind of smash those targets. And I ended up managing it for about 20 other clients, also other membership advisors for the organization, and managed it on their behalf. So currently working with around about kind of 16 clients on the software tool, and yeah, looking to grow that and expand that. So that's my vision. Where does this whole Calendly thing fit in then? Just going to add Dan to the room. So where does Calendly fit in? Obviously, number 6, we've gone through each of these sessions week by week, looking at all the different elements. This is kind of like a framework for implementing a LinkedIn marketing strategy within your business. We look at kind of identifying the target audience, priming your personal profile, this outreach piece, which is all about automation and kind of sending out connection requests to people on autopilot and initiating conversations with people. The natural follow-up piece to this is in email marketing, which is a nice bolt-on. Once you've connected with someone on LinkedIn, the natural step is to just send them a follow-up email. We then looked at kind of video content marketing last week, which was quite cool, how you can kind of leverage video on LinkedIn. And this week, we're kind of exploring this whole appointment setting thing, because I think it's vital for any business to have this kind of nailed and have a decent system for tracking all those leads and appointments, making sure you're turning up for the appointments and meetings are not getting lost. So let's dive in. In this section, we're going to look at just why it's so important, really. It's crucial for any kind of small business, really, or any huge, large business, corporate business. We're going to look at some of the common challenges that businesses currently face. But let's start with a couple of stats. So stat number 1, 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after an initial contact, and 44% of sales reps give up after just the first no. So persistence is the game here. That was a stat that I found there from Marketing Donut. Check them out, they're doing some great work. But yeah, it just reminded me of, in a LinkedIn sequence, if you're just connecting with people, that's not going to be good enough. You've got to connect and have another touch point with them, offer them some value add content, follow up with that, and then once you've got those 5 touch points in place and having a multi-channel approach. So if you're going to LinkedIn messages, having an email or a follow-up phone call, these are really going to improve your sales. Stat number 2, 78% of salespeople engaging in social selling outperform their peers. So that came from Hootsuite. Hootsuite do a social media software, and that was a stat from them. Obviously, if you're embracing LinkedIn as part of your sales strategy, you're going to outperform all your competitors without a doubt. So as a small business owner, probably that your time is very valuable. Time is money is the old expression, and you've got to make every single minute count. And that's where effective appointment setting is really going to come into play. And this is the process of managing your calendar, looking after all the bookings, the appointments, and having a kind of seamless way where potential clients or customers can just focus on those meetings. So everyone knows what's happening when it's happened. That frees you up. You get more time to then focus on your business and do what you enjoy the most. I can't imagine what, because I juggle a lot of hats. I've got a lot of businesses and a lot of things going on. So if I didn't kind of embrace scheduling and get this nailed, I really would be floundering and missing appointments and kind of losing out big time. So potentially that is a loss in sales and revenue. So having those double bookings, that's going to just make you look really shoddy in business. So an effective appointment setting strategy is really going to help you to kind of improve that productivity and also reduce your stress hugely. I can really vouch for that one. So it's all about having this clear schedule, knowing what you need to do and when you need to do it. And then you can plan your day effectively and avoid those kind of last minute rushes to get everything done. However, despite its importance, many small businesses struggle with appointment setting and scheduling. Often they'll think it's a very time consuming process to nail, and also can be very difficult to stay organized and keep track of everything. And especially as your team grows and you've got more people coming in, that complexity starts to grow a little bit. So some of the common challenges that businesses face, obviously finding the right tools and software to manage their calendar and appointments. There's a plethora of tools out there. So just kind of when you start to go software hunting, it takes you off the sales role that you should be doing. And it can be a bit frustrating. Obviously dealing with no-shows or last-minute cancellations, that can also be a bit frustrating, having to reorganize that all the time, coordinating your schedules with multiple team members and kind of kind of fit in with other people, that's obviously another consideration as well. And just managing different time zones. I've got a couple of clients in New York, so they're 8 hours behind me, not 5 hours behind me in New York. So that brings a bit of a challenge when you're dealing with clients internationally. And I know kind of Jason, obviously you might be doing a bit of international work, I don't know, but potentially you've got to think about time zones and things, and that starts to get a bit more complicated. So yeah, often people struggle to find the time to manage those appointments alongside all their other business tasks. So vital to get this nailed right up at the front of building out the strategy for your business long term. So in the next section, we're going to just explore some of the solutions, and one of the solutions that I've really kind of worked with over the years is Calendly. Calendly has been, it's been a godsend to me. So I'm not on any commissions with Calendly. I haven't got any affiliate links or anything like that. But we'll dive into that solution. Just kind of demonstrate what that does and how it looks like. But first, I just wanted to dive into a new window. This is one I've never shared with anybody yet on the masterclasses. So we're going to go in deep here on my own marketing funnel and processes, just to emphasize the importance of Calendly and where it's fitting in and what it's doing within my own business model. I've got a bit of slow internet today, typically. Just waiting for this to load. So what it is basically a visualizer for creating marketing funnels. It's a completely free tool. This is called Funnelytics. If you've not checked it out and mapped out all the processes, then do check it out, because it's a very powerful tool. Hopefully you guys can see the screen share. I'll try and increase the screen size a bit more so you can see what's going on here. But when this loads up, here we go. This is basically my business model in a kind of pretty diagram. It starts here. We've got the Leadeth website over here. We're driving traffic into what I call my lead generation masterclass, which is this event. And that's through LinkedIn outreach. We've got email outreach. We've also got an Eventbrite page to kind of drive traffic to this masterclass. From the masterclass page, people are then signing up using a Zoom registration link. And this is what I call my weekly moment. It's the weekly, time slot, which encourages routine, repetition, encourages community, because everyone comes together and people love it, and a bit of accountability in there as well, I guess. So when you kind of have this in your business, it kind of attracts more people to it. So within this, I've then got post registration, we've got the opportunity for people to have what we call a strategy call. So that might be your sales call, or something where you're finding a good fit with potential clients, showcasing what you're doing. So for Calendly, that's where the scheduling tool really kicks in. So I've connect my Google Calendar, Google Calendars to Calendly, because I've got several calendars. So then people can choose a specific slot with me, and then they'll get an automated email confirmation. They'll get a phone call. They'll get an email and SMS reminder to turn up to the events as well. So it's really quite clever what you can achieve with Calendly. And then on the back of that, I also use it for scheduling onboarding calls. So that's when I schedule an hour onboarding session with clients, depending on what subscription level they're coming in at. So Calendly is it's used kind of quite a lot. What you don't see on this map is the post-sale stuff. This is all the stuff building up to the sale. And then Calendly again kicks in for post-sale, because I also have support sessions, which people can drop into. I've got group sessions where up to 3 customers at any one time can hop into those calls. And it just manages that whole process really efficiently. So let's dive into the actual Calendly tool and just show you a little bit about Calendly and how I'm kind of utilizing it. So as I say, there is a free version. The free version of Calendly is very limited. You can have basically one calendar and one event type. If you upgrade to something like professional, which is what I'm on, I mean, $12 a month is not a huge investment for what it's doing and what it's giving back in terms of time and the text messages and all of that. I mean, if you were to add up the number of emails it was sending out on autopilot for you and the text message reminders, if you were manually doing that, that would, take a lot of your time. So it's a very, very minimal investment, but gives you a lot more calendars to then interact with, allows you to brand it, so it's on brand, looking really professional as well. So I'm just going to log into my Calendly account, just show you how this is working and what I've got set up. So once you've logged into Calendly, you'll see quite a few different events that I've got currently running at the moment. So I've got various things for all the different things that are going on within the business. So the grey ones are dead ones that aren't live anymore. But you can see we've got the, for example, the strategy call here. This is a 45-minute one-to-one event. So Calendly will actually link to your Zoom account. So you can use all these different integrations up here. If you go to integrations, you can connect your email account. So your calendar's synced. You can connect your Zoom account. If you use Google Meets, it works with Google Meet. So it works with a lot of other tools. So once you set up your Calendly account, try and connect it with as many of those other tools, and that makes sure all the information is going into one place. So I've also connected HubSpot because that's my preferred CRM that I'm using at the moment. So if anyone books a Calendly meeting with me, straight away the CRM system will showcase that Calendly has got a meeting on that client record, which is quite powerful. So you start at the top and you basically work down this event form, filling out as much as you can. So you have a title for the event, the location of the event. So obviously the location can be any of these choices. So it can be an in-person meeting, a specific workplace. It can be a phone call even. It could be a Google Meet. So I've got a 15-minute follow-up phone call that I do at the end of a strategy call. And that works really well because if people don't want to Zoom, it's just a nice, easy way to have a phone call that goes in your diary to make sure it doesn't get forgotten about or lost. Or you can ask the invitee to specify a location. So I think I've got an event that is a one-to-one with local people, and that's basically coffee in a coffee shop. So I let them specify the coffee shop of their choice, and that's quite cool. You can add a description, and then importantly, you can add this event link, which is basically a shortened version of where they can book that event. So for me, I've got Leadeth as all my links, and then /strategy, that would take them to the strategy session. You can also give them colors. That's kind of purely for the branding on the landing page at Calendly, but it doesn't kind of reflect too heavily with that. Within the booking settings here, you've got some amazing abilities to say, right, how far into the future do you want people to schedule those bookings? So you can actually say, right, no more than 30 calendar days, so a month in advance you want to work. That's fine. If you want to schedule for the whole year, you can do that. You can specify the duration of those meetings as well, which is quite cool. And a lot of people say, you know, what about traveling time and stuff like that? And it's really quite clever because further down here, you've got, you can add a buffer. So like traveling time, I guess, before and after the event. Because all my meetings are kind of online, I kind of just allow a 15-minute overlap on the Calendly bookings. And then you've got additional rules for your availability. So you can say what sort of increments do you want them to start at on the calendar? So I do mine at kind of 30-minute increments. And invitees can't schedule within 2 days. So for a strategy session, we're not allowing people to book next day because, you know, strategy session, it kind of just gives my email sequences a bit of time to kind of nurture and warm them up before they're ready to sit on the calls. And you can also say, how many events per day do you want to run? So this is great because it gives you so much margin back in your life. You don't want to be back-to-back with meetings 7 days a week. So you could say, right, I'll only do 2 strategy calls per week, depending on what your goals are and what your targets are. You know, you can adjust that. So that's really cool. With onboarding calls, I kind of get onboarding over burnout if I do more than 3 of them a day, because they're quite intensive sessions working with the clients directly. So I kind of restrict those to kind of 2 or 3 as well. And that's really handy. And obviously, if you don't want it publicly available, so you don't want people to see the link, you can actually make it a secret link. So only when you copy and paste the link on your emails does that appear. So you won't get any kind of Tom, Dick and Harry booking on a meeting randomly with you. So there's some of the basic questions. And then the next bit is you've got the invitee questions. So these are the questions. Obviously, you don't want many barriers in getting in the way of people filling out this form. So keep it as simple as possible. But it also allows you to start to qualify your prospects because you can actually go in and say, right, what other information would be quite useful? So I've actually got a more longer form for my onboarding call. So when someone schedules an onboarding call, I'd like to know what version of Sales Navigator they're using, what their current SSI score is really handy to know that as well. So other information that's relevant to the call, you can ask those fields here. And you've got the option to make it mandatory or an optional field as well. So there's some really good things. And then if you pay for the pro version of Calendly, which is about $12 a month, you can start to unlock what we call workflows. And these workflows are actually quite powerful because they start to automate a lot of the manual processes that you would be doing. So for me, I'll go into the workflows in a moment because they come up in a different place on the website. But you can basically set up different scenarios for all your different meetings. And we'll explore those in a minute. You've got notifications. So these are, if you just want a one-off email to go out on the back of this event, you can turn on notifications. So I have, for this strategy call, I'll have an email, just to thank them for booking it on, giving a bit of more information about what we're about to do, and a contact email address. You've also got email reminders as well, so you can actually send a reminder. So this reminder goes out 24 hours before the strategy call. Again, not allowing people to book in a call until after 24 hours allows this email to get pushed to them. And it just shares a bit of information about what they can expect. They can read a bit more about what we're doing. And then we've got email follow-up. So after the meeting is over, you can automate a follow-up. And you might say, what happens if they don't turn up? Will they still get the follow-up? Well, that's down to you. You've got kind of like the length of the meeting to go in there and cancel this from automatically sending. But by default, it's you can tell it to automatically send after that meeting is over. So obviously it knows how long the meeting is, so you can pre-program that, which is quite cool. And the follow-up is the key. I mean, I've had quite a few people come back to me and initiate a conversation again on the back of that follow-up email. So so setting these, and they can be quite generic. You don't have to tailor them to the actual message, but ultimately everyone's been on the strategy call. They know what sort of things you've discussed, so you can be a bit more generic with these emails, but it's just to reassure them, ask them if they've got any other questions. It's another opportunity. It's another one of those 5 touch points that we talked about right at the start. Text messages are a goldmine. It's so easy if people are traveling or out and about to kind of forget things and miss out on stuff. So establishing a text message reminder is really helpful for people. Just 10 minutes before your event kicks off, beep, they get a text message from Calendly, and they can just let you know. It's just a reminder, really, to let them know that this is on. So don't bombard them with too many. I've done that by accident before. I think having one at 10 minutes, one at half an hour, one at an hour, and it's just just don't do it because it's can be a bit too annoying. But you've got all that ability built into the software here. This is really powerful. The next bit on the event page, this is called the confirmation page. So this is what do you want to do once they've booked that meeting? What's the next step for them? So could you send them to a case study that's really relevant to their specific industry? Could you send them back to your blog or a homepage? It could be you want, so for me, for the onboarding calls, once they've kind of booked that onboarding call, I want to get them into my platform, my software platform. So you can actually go to redirect to an external site, and that's going to automate the process even further. So I haven't got to send an email. Once someone signs up with me and the direct debit goes through, I haven't got to do anything. They're straight into the software tool. They're getting the first email. I've automated all of that, which is really, really powerful. And it comes across quite personal still, because the follow-up emails that they receive will say, you're going to receive an email from me about some instructions, blah, 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 blah. And obviously Calendly has got a lot of integrations with Stripe, with PayPal. So if you're providing an event or a service and you want to take funds for that service, so it could be you charge for your initial consultations or something, if there's some value to be deemed there, you can collect that payment straight off the back of booking these calls in. So very powerful thing. So that's kind of what you do to configure the actual event. I'm just going to show you the workflows. So this is a pro feature of Calendly. It's called workflows. It sits up here at the top. And basically, you can set up these workflows to do lots of different things. So, for example, I've got a strategy follow-up workflow, and that will send an email to the host, and it will also send an email to the invitee. So for that one, it's basically an email one. You can obviously add text messages into the workflow here. So basically, which event type does this happen on? I've just chosen the strategy call. When's it going to happen? So immediately, as soon as the event ends. So that if the strategy call is 45 minutes, that will kick in at 45 minutes at the end. You can obviously push that back a bit more if you wanted to. Do this. So send an email to the invitee, and that's going to be my follow-up email where I talk about the different packages, just as a reminder. Because after all of those calls, everybody says, "Oh, can you just send an email with all the info we've talked about on that?" So that goes out on autopilot. we've then got the email to the host. So this is an email to me, and this is a reminder to me basically. So it comes in my inbox and reminds me to send a video recording to the client via Fathom, and also enroll them into a long-term warm-up email sequence in the MailerLite software. So I actually use MailerLite to do a lot of the nurturing as well, and then schedule the phone call, task, follow-up, reminder in HubSpot. So they're the three main things that I have to manually do, depending on the outcome of the meeting. Obviously, if they wanted to go straight ahead, I wouldn't need to do this. But just as a little reminder to me in my inbox, that's super helpful. So that's just what I get to me. So you can actually automate some of that to some degree, but obviously it depends on the outcome of your meeting in terms of what you want to do next. So that's kind of where it becomes a little bit of a fork. So that's kind of a rich overview of Calendly. What we're seeing work really well is people that are using the integrations for the forms into their website. So this is where you can embed the Calendly form within a specific landing page on your website. The days of kind of contact forms, I think, are getting less and less. People still are using them, don't get me wrong, but the ability to have a focused bit of time for that person in the diary, it makes people feel really appreciated, very special and valued. So if you can provide them a bit of your calendar rather than just an email form, I think you're going to get a lot back out of it. So there's a little bit of information about Calendly. So setting up availability and letting others kind of schedule the meetings at a time that works with you and both parties. So we'll look at kind of what I'm doing in terms of Leadeth and Calendly. Obviously, we've got Leadeth. So bear with me. So Leadeth has actually got a built-in ability to create a landing page that incorporates a Calendly booking system. So when we talk about this whole next section, this is about creating automated outreach campaigns via LinkedIn. So the Leadeth is my the software that I use, and we've got lots of different campaigns. I just want to share maybe one of the success stories here. So this is a done for you service. So in Christmas time, I produced a campaign whereby I launched a campaign just to remind people in my first degree network what I was up to, and that I was bringing out a new done for you service for those clients. And it was a really kind of, I was quite overwhelmed at the response I got on this. So if we just go to the reply rate, 50% reply rate on the back of that campaign, which was really effective. I'm just going to try and go into some of these replies just so you can see the workflow. Apologies, Robert. Picked on Robert here. Let's try another one. Come on. Mark Adams. Just trying to find my Calendly links. There we go. So a lot of people can, obviously you can put in your naked Calendly link into a LinkedIn message as part of your campaign and sequence. That's one way of doing it. What I'm doing here with the video marketing campaign. So my message to Paul here, a contact I kind of met years ago. Hi, Paul, check out my video message. And that's where a lot of people get confused with things like Loom. Loom is a very personalized approach to doing this, but this is a way of doing it en masse to large numbers. So it actually sends a web link, and that web link will take you to a landing page. And that landing page is all created when we build the campaign. So it says my new LinkedIn sales and engagement service. Hi, Paul. Hope you're well. Had a good Christmas and 2022. Let me get straight to the point. Leadeth has now grown from a simple DIY software solution, blah, blah, blah. I think you'll be a perfect fit with you at Sandbank Beach. So it puts in the company name. So it's creating this whole landing page for us on autopilot. And this is actually a video of me. It's out here from Leadeth Funnel over 2022. Just to let you know, I've now launched. So I'm basically doing a 30-second video, and that gets overlaid over the top of his profile. So it looks really super hyper personalized. And then the call to action is, let's give your business the sales boost it needs in 2023. And on the back of that, I'm then driving them straight into my Calendly page to schedule meetings. So it's creating this whole page. The software's creating all of this page. It's creating the profile, customized profile view. I haven't got to lift a finger. Once it's set, it's going, it's doing this, doing about 20 of these every day for different people that I've identified need to be getting this message. And as a manual task, that would take me, probably an hour to do for just one client at a time, do all the research, send him a personalized message, do all the follow-ups, where this is, 20 people out there, big numbers, filling up the diary, 3 or 4 nice juicy sales calls every week with clients. So that's the kind of the workflow and how we're using it with Leadeth. Just going to go back to the slide deck where we Calendly integration. Yeah, so just open it up to the floor really. Any questions or tips if that anyone else wants to share in terms of kind of what they're doing with Calendly? I'll open it up to the floor, so please do. Go on, Jason.
Yeah, hi, Alex. I appreciate I've only just stepped in partway through your 13-week program, so I'm sure you've answered this elsewhere. But have you done work on developing the kind of hook or interest point in order that someone is going to take this step in the process? So obviously the scheduling is assumed that they've actually engaged.
Yeah, of course, it's down the line. Yeah, so in terms of a marketing campaign, it's very much around looking at your target audience. So there's a huge bit of work about addressing their pain points, understanding what it is that they what's hurting them, what's that pain look like to them. And if you can kind of personify that and see it as a villain, or I often use the story brand, Donald Miller's technique, and that works really well because that helps you to then introduce the solution that's going to take away their pain. And when you've got that approach and you can bolt on a bit of value, so it's important to always add that value piece in, whether that's a free ebook that you've written or a free A4 worksheet, which helps them to address some of the issues in their pain point. So I'm not sure what a pain point might look like for one of your clients, but it could be they're just exploring, building out this basement space or whatever it is. They want to make use of it. So you could do a simple checklist, 20 things that they need to tick off before they even speak to an architect. When I was running my web design business, I did a great one, which was, top 10 things to ask your web designer before you engage with a conversation with a web designer. And I was actually trying to drive people away because often a website was not what they wanted. So I was trying to just understand, do they actually really need a website, or do they just want one because all their competitors have got one? So we dive into some of the questions that kind of answered that. So think about the value add bit, I would say. And then once you've got that hook there, deliver the value and then go in with a Calendly approach.
And the only other obvious thing is it's challenged me in the past is being able to run your life from a diary. So because when you're on your own, I kind of struggle sometimes to actually keep that regimented hour by hour. So my Calendly link is live, but then it's all open because I'm not disciplined enough. But I know it's a different different thing to get on top of. Yeah.
It is. So I've basically got I can share this. There's nothing personal on my calendar that I'm worried about people seeing as such. Let me just stop share. So I actually use Apple Calendar to basically govern my calendar and what I'm up to and all the meetings I'm having. So it's a different calendar for all the different businesses that I'm involved with. I've got my $1 Million Hour, which is my business development hour. Really recommend it. It takes a bit of dedication and effort to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I devote an hour to business development, and that gives me the ability to kind of drive things forward in business, because you've not got the distractions. The kids aren't up yet, and I can just really crack out some really good things. So it could be like, right, I want to do an email marketing sequence this week, and just it focuses time on playing with ChatGPT and building out that sequence and getting it built. So getting into that sort of discipline works really well, and finding that time where you're not going to be distracted, where you can just focus, switch your phone off, and just have that time really helps for me. I do a 4-day week as well, and that produces a bit of a challenge because it means you're already, everybody else is doing 5-day weeks and working much harder, so they can achieve a lot more potentially. But I've chosen to not work on that Wednesday, so that's carved out, and that's family time. So I often have to play a little bit of catch up, but it's within Calendly, it's specifying the timings that you want for the onboarding calls, specifying the times that you want for other tasks. And so I have my other business, Friday mornings tends to be other business roles. So that's in the calendar. So people can't book over the top of that. That's set as busy, apart from the bookkeeping, which is free because that's purely just being available to my bookkeeper if I need to. So it's understanding kind of where your time's going. And when you start to look at it on a calendar, that will really help you to think, right, how can I make the most of the time I've got? And then this month's been atrocious. We've had school strikes, we've had 3 bank holidays. I'm just feeling like, where's the time to actually do anything? But it's been one of the best months. We've had 3 clients on board this month. So it is very much a discipline thing, Jason, and you'll kind of nail it. But you just need a decent calendar, a go-to calendar that's synced across all your devices. And then when those bookings come in, you can map them out to when you want them to come in, and it's your time. You specify when you want those meetings, rather than just opening it wide up for everyone to cause you chaos by interrupting your whatever you're working on. Yeah.
Jason, on the point that you made there about your calendar, and managing it as as a rather than part of a team and it being done by admin somewhere, you're doing it all for yourself. I was using Leadeth to contact life coaches and spiritual coaches, but one thing I hadn't done with Leadeth is qualify down to the location of these people. I was so keen to talk to them, I almost didn't mind where they were. So when I integrated my Loom video saying, "Hi, I'm Martin, I've seen your social media," and I then put in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever it was, obviously you've got it cracked. You know what you're doing as a life or spiritual coach. I'm carrying out some market research. Click on the link below, join me on Zoom. Click on the calendar link below, join me on Zoom, and let's explore. Let's explore the area that you know better than I. I'm looking to carry out 100 of these. I've got 65 already. You'll help me get over the line. Then I'll publish the results and share them with you. I'm already finding some earth-shattering, something to, oh, right, I'm interested in that. And then I found someone in New Zealand who wanted to talk to me, but completely outside of my time zone. And then I found someone on the other side of the coast in Vancouver who I'm thinking, well, so my slots in the morning, I had to really think about what I was doing. But Leadeth was the tool that was generating through LinkedIn the kind of people I want to communicate with. I then just had to sort of step back a bit and think, right, I'm doing the latest one I can manage on a Tuesday and Thursday. It was 7:00 in the evening, and a couple of options in the day. But I had to manage exactly when I want the people to involve me, if you like, in the calendar discussion. And it just took a bit of time to do. I have to say, it was failure before I got it right. I didn't get it right to start with, but there you go. I hope that helps a little.
Yeah. No, thank you, Martin. That's really good input. Thank you. So going back to, let's have a look. Where are we? Okay. So we'd quickly run through the biggest takeaways from the session today. This just helps me to kind of hone in the sessions a bit more. Be great to hear from you all. Just one thing maybe that that struck from today's discussions. Jason, how about you?
It's just okay. A lot of this is restart something I already know. So I do have a Calendly, but tend not to use it. And that can also be if I'm reaching out to people, I say, "Oh, I'm work from home, I'm flexible," and it looks like I've got all the time in the world. And actually, no, I need to kind of hone that down. Say, no, I only have this hour here and this hour here available. And so on the calendar, make it look like I'm busy. That's something that's quite important.
Yeah. Andre, how about you?
Yeah, that $1 million hour. the challenge.
It is a challenge.
I'm not a morning person at all. And maybe mine one will be in the evening at
That's right.
9 or 10.
You
But I
gotta
don't know
do-
if
yeah.
I don't know if that is a drawback, because are you alert and are you whatever at that time? So I'll have to figure that out. But I don't have a Calendly. Perhaps I should. Yeah, but that spending that time, I think that's my biggest takeaway. Just rearranging the calendar, because my calendar is all open and yeah. So
Yeah,
so,
get some control of it, and yeah, certainly if you're looking to kind of grow and you're going to be meeting with clients, then it's a great tool, really is. Martin, biggest
Yeah, I think
takeaway from you?
Alex, thanks very much for reminding me that Calendly isn't just a open up June, for example, and pick a date and let's have a Zoom meeting. It's all the interaction with Calendly, with your CRM, using Loom to introduce through Calendly a Zoom meeting, for example, using MailerLite and a regular process of follow-ups, and then interacting from your website. I'd never really thought that was an option, actually. I must build a website, though, in order to do that.
Yeah, well, funny you should talk about that, because next week's masterclass, week 7, we're actually talking about unlocking the power of your website.
There you go.
Looking at all the different,
you can't do this on your own. You need me.
Yeah.
More than you
all
think.
the different lead generation tactics
There
that
you
you can
go.
be adopting on your website. So definitely come along next week, because I think you'll see great benefit with that in terms of exploring what the opportunities are there. Yeah. So it's so thanks, guys. Really appreciate you coming along. Hope you've found some value there. Obviously, the next step is usually just to have a strategy session with myself. I think probably just Jason's that's left in the room who I've not ever had a strategy call with. But if you wanted to find out a bit more about kind of what I've been talking about and how we can start to adopt some automated LinkedIn strategies within your own business, I'm more than happy to do that. So I can send you a
I was
link.
about to ask, what's your calendar link? Let's just grab 10 minutes. Yeah.
So leadeth.io/strategy. I'll pop it in the chat so you've got it there as well.
Copy it, yeah.
HTTP.
What's your schedule like today?
Yeah, so as I say, for strategy calls, you're probably looking at towards the end of the week now.
Yeah, okay. Rather than 2 minutes, yeah. I'll see when you've got a
I'll
little bit
pop
more
the
time.
link. Christoph had to run, but I can see his comments in the chat there. Great. Okay. Right. Well, thanks everyone. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully catch up next week if you're about.
Yep. Excellent.
Many thanks.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.